Hi, I'm Ciel, and today we're talking about play and how to make things for the sake of making things. I paint, but I don't like calling myself a painter because I also do graphics, write essays, make YouTube videos, and most recently drew and rigged a VTuber model. You can say that I'm simply an artist, but being too quick at labeling yourself as an artist, a writer, or a scholar may create a restriction in the illusion of exclusivity, as if you can only make art if you're an artist. Only writers have the ability and privilege to write. At some point, we don't allow ourselves to do things for the sake of doing them. That said, I believe that everyone can make things. Everyone has the ability to. But so many people love to prove me wrong. Like, some of them be saying there are no point in journaling if your handwriting is ugly. And hey, this is a symptom of a larger issue. Do it perfect or don't do it at all. This is what happens when you spend hours of your day staring at screens, being spoon-fed perfect drawings, rage bait, perfect time lapses, and perfect hot takes from hot people. You start to believe that people only make beautiful things, that only beautiful things are allowed to exist, and that it is easy to make those things. But look, no one can get to that level of mastery, beauty, and meaning without the thousands of hours and ugly attempts that go underneath all of it. The reality is, we all start somewhere. None of us were born knowing how to hold a pen, and the more you look at beautiful things, the more your creative energy builds up. But the thing is, if you don't act upon that creative energy, it may turn into bitterness and resentment. Now, what I'm going to talk about next is what happens when you actually act upon that creative energy. Now, let me introduce you to my favorite guy ever, Austin Kleon. He wrote the book Steal Like an Artist, which I bought from the bookstore, and Keep Going, which I adopted from a free bookshelf in uni. We're gonna talk about the latter today. On chapter 3 of Keep Going, he wrote, "Forget the noun and do the verb." This is the key to our discussion today. Let go of the thing that you're trying to be, the noun, and focus on the actual work you need to be doing, the verb. In Kleon's words, if you pick the wrong noun to aspire to, you'll be stuck with the wrong verb. When people use the word creative as a job title, it not only falsely divides the world into creatives and non-creatives, but also implies that the work of a creative is being creative. I find that labeling yourself as one thing or another, especially at a very young age, really limits and stunts your growth as a person. See, I've always liked drawing, and although I wasn't quick to label myself as a drawer, I did label myself as not athletic. And that became an excuse, especially when I was growing up, to not engage in much physical activities and to not even try to begin with. It especially shows when it comes to games or sports in school, because I would be so nervous at shooting the ball or picking up the racket for shame that I would suck in front of all of my classmates. Like, they even care, right? Fast forward to uni, something happened that changed everything. I was running to catch the train, and then I need to make it to the gate, down a corridor, and pass a few flights of stairs in 2 minutes, and I almost couldn't do it. I was breathing really hard. It was painful. My lungs were in pain, my legs were in pain, and when I managed to sit down, I was just trying to steady my breath again, and that was so humbling. On that train ride, I finally asked myself, mate, how long are we gonna let our past define us like this? And that was when I decided I'm not gonna let my high school self define my life anymore. Now, the thing with labels, whatever you do nowadays, TikTok would have a name for it. right? So I signed up to a Pilates class and I do enjoy doing it, but TikTok would love to call me a Pilates princess, but the reality is a lot simpler than that. I just rolled out of bed and walked to my class. That's it. Right? There's not really anything glamorous about it. I simply do the verb. Go to my Pilates class, I go to bouldering with some mates, and I run when the weather is nice. Art and writing and learning new things should get the same treatment as that. Alright, now we're getting to the hard part. How do we cultivate that humility and playfulness when we actually do the thing? How do we get past the idea that your creation will suck? Push through and keep making it as long as you can. All children learn about the world through play. Their best play, however, is acted out with a kind of lightness and detachment from the results. Cleon, talking about his son Jules, notices that when his son was drawing, he does not care about the actual drawing, the noun. All his energy was focused on drawing, the verb, on the act of drawing itself. I think one of the ways that results and nouns sort of hold us back is in the form of motivation. Often we ask, how do you get motivated to get up at 5 a.m. and work out? What's your motivation to keep drawing, to draw even after a long day, even when you're tired? And honestly, the answer to that is simply, there is no motivation. You just do it. You just do. Usually when I try to pick up a new habit, I worry more about how I'm gonna maintain it for the next 4 weeks, how I'm gonna tick off the box every day. But what that does is actually giving me the weight of 4 entire weeks, of an entire month, when really what I needed to shoulder was simply the weight of doing it today, to do it in this exact moment. Right? And look, I know we're getting into dicey self-help, just do it territory right now. And do not worry, I have just the supplemental material for that. Check out Matt Diavella's video, which I also really like, love Matt. Hopefully that would provide a little bit more nuance to this discussion. Now, to all my fellow nerd out there, I'm sorry for quoting Kurt Vonnegut again, but you know as well as I do that it's just that good. In a letter to a group of high school students, Kurt Vonnegut gave them this homework. Write a poem and don't show it to anybody. Tear it up into little pieces and throw them into the trash can. And for anyone needing translation, imagine playing Breath of the Wild or Stardew Valley up to year 3 and losing your file. Make the best painting you can and then delete it. You will find that you have already been gloriously rewarded for your poem. You have experienced becoming, learned a lot more about what's inside you, and have made your soul grow. And guys, why do we keep making art? For millions of years, from the first cave painting to all the art that we keep making, even when AI and big companies try to screw us over, why do we keep doing it? And I think even though not everyone realizes it, we all feel something from the process of making art. We gain something from the act of doing the part, of making the stroke, of being in the present with yourself, with your creation. That is the reward for making art. Speaking of making art, making things, I make a lot of stuff, either for this video or just for my own art practice. I learn a lot of things, I write them down and I share them as well, and I share all of these on my Patreon. Even if you don't have the financial means, just by joining, you would have access to my monthly newsletter, which hooray, is a new thing. With the monthly newsletter, I will be sharing basically my commonplace as like something public for people to read if they're curious. The newsletter is right there. It's right there. So I mentioned earlier that I made a VTuber model as my most recent endeavor, my little project, and I would be the first to notice that it's not perfect. Maybe to other people who have seen a lot more beautiful VTubers, a lot more beautiful rigs, and know a lot more riggers who are way more skilled in what they do than me, you might beg the question, why do you even do it, CL? You're already good at painting, why don't you just stay in your lane, right? Guys, I have always labeled myself as not a technical artist and always claimed to hate rigging. And just as Kurt Vonnegut said it, I end up learning so much about myself, trying to figure out rigging and slowly proving to myself that, hey, I can do this thing. And really, it's a very personal experience that is not very easy to put into words. The sense of becoming and growth that you feel from trying something new, from trying something out. But if we learn anything today, our first try doesn't have to be perfect, because the true meaning of making isn't in the result. It's in the act of making it. So now, as in every single video that I make, I encourage you to try making your own thing and let me know what it is. Hi, welcome to the postscript. Thank you so much for watching the video, and as always, thank you so much to my patrons for your support, for my knights, my patron of the arts. Thank you so much. And also just letting you guys know, I live stream quite a bit, at least once a week. If you wanna join us, while I draw, paint, ask questions, spend time together, co-work together, my live stream is there. And I also open membership, so if you wanna join and have access to cool emotes, that is also a possibility now. And yeah, take care. I will see you in the next one. Bye!